What was the cringiest thing you did in your first relationship? UHG. Me and my first boyfriend, being around 13 years old, had no idea how to kiss. Our first makeout consisted of us just licking each other's tongues with our eyes wide open staring at each other. We did this in public. I will never forget the day an upperclassman laughed at us and said, "Dude, close your eyes." This dude was the real MVP. He didn't actually break up with me. He just ghosted me. I didn't want to admit it. So I was like, "Yo, we're still dating." I just haven't heard from him in like a month. I was 16. Ate river grass straight from the water on a canoe ride because I thought he'd be impressed. Somehow. I die inside thinking about it now. His mother was there. This is my favorite. I can just imagine his family members occasionally bringing it up years later. Remember when John dated that girl who ate grass? We were walking down the hallway and his hand kept brushing mine, so I assumed he wanted to hold hands. Tried to grab his hand and got swatted away. That's not too bad, right? Used 3 all the time. After every sentence. 3. I thought it made me look cute for her. My first relationship. I had seen a post on somewhere claiming the best backup plan to being rejected when asking someone if they want to kiss was to pull out some Hershey's Kisses and act as if that you were simply asking if they wanted some. I thought I'd use this the next day when the girl I had a crush on came over. We were laying on my bed 2 feet apart watching The Shining. I look at her. She doesn't look at me. I say FCK it and ask her, "Hey, do ya wanna kiss?" She pauses for a good 5 seconds before saying a sinner with disgust in her voice. I then, thinking I'm a bloody legend, pull out a bag of Hershey's Kisses and say, "Oh, some more for me then." She knew I wasn't asking her if she wanted Hershey's Kisses, and I knew she knew. We sat in silence and watched the rest of the movie as I ate a whole bag of Hershey's Kisses. After 2 months I decided it was more than like but not love, so I told her I eloped her. She broke up with me 2 weeks later. It was during high school when I sewed a tiny rabbit plushie with her name on it for our first anniversary. Long story, she broke up with me that day and still I tried to give it to her. The way we talked on Facebook. My god, every now and then I get a memory on Facebook and want to gag. Plus talk about marriage and kids and shit. I was 15. Our hormones outweighed our consciences. And we had sex under a blanket on a couch like 3 feet from some of our friends. We tried to move as little as possible to give the impression that we were just cuddling. But I don't think anyone was fooled. Because all of our friends got up and moved to another room. They left the door open though. And could still see us. Didn't matter. We just hit FCK it and, well, FK'd. Loudly. I haven't spoken to those people in a long time. Not the cringiest. But up there. We were probably 14-15 and didn't know how making out worked exactly. So we tried making out with our eyes open. Full eye contact. It still gives me the heebie-jeebies. Drew a tiny love heart in my diary every time we had sex. I dated a girl in high school who did this after I took her virginity. She would use tiny different symbols in her daily planner depending on what type of sexual act we did. I ended up marrying her. She's perfect. Had my first relationship with a girl when I was 12. Our relationship consisted of mostly hanging out at school and talking on the phone. Then we planned a date to the movies, which everyone in 8th grade knows mean going on for a kiss. I was incredibly nervous, so I asked my older brother, older by a year, how to kiss. He assured me all I had to do was spell out the alphabet with my tongue. So we go to see the movie, and after I lay on the already cringy onto arm around her, I go in for the kiss. I fervently started tracing ABCD. She pulled away around F and didn't say another word in the movie or on the car ride home when my mom picked us up. She broke up with me the day after. Gave a girl a CD with a single song on it. Falling for You by Student Rick and a long note describing how the music expressed my feelings. Did not label the CD. Also happened to burn a Bad Religion CD the same night. Did not label this CD either. Got mad at girl when she told me she only got to listen to the first half of the CD. What the hell? There was only one track. She didn't even listen to it. Guess what I heard when I put in my Bad Religion CD? Boy. Logging into each other's Facebooks to post stupid shit. For example, I'd post from his account something along the lines of OMG FJSGK is the best GF in the world, I love her so much. And all of our high school friends thought it was funny. Also generally oversharing too much online. From me being mad at him to me gushing about how great he was. I turned on Facebook memory notifications a year or two ago so I could meticulously comb through my Facebook posts day by day and purge the years of embarrassments from my account. Edit. Let him go swimming with his ex and her family. He invited me but I can tell he didn't want me to come. I was fresh 18 and he was my first boyfriend so I didn't stand up for myself. Cut to a few weeks later. I come home, yes. We were living together, and his ex is in our bed. He swears she was on the couch when he left. It was a long shift so I told him to just wake her up and have her moved to the couch. She left in an angry tear-filled rage. I stayed with him when he admitted he got a hotel with her. He said it was before me but I think he was lying. And had sex with her, then threw the key card at her and left because he needed to have sex with her one last time. He said it was to make sure he was over her. But to also punish her for cheating on him. Man. That whole relationship was cringe. I was so naive. Wasn't my first. But first serious. I was dating a Turkish girl for a month or so and her mother came to visit from Turkey. The mother spoke no English. The three of us went to eat at a restaurant. Possibly because I was nervous or possibly because I needed to express my sense of humor amongst all of the foreign Turkish conversation. I slipped down on one knee and raised my hands as if proposing marriage to my girlfriend. Both of them took the bait for a second. Eyes wide in shock. And then I popped back into my chair and chuckled. Just kidding. Sick prank bro. Created a shared MySpace account where we posted how in love we were. Also I saved every wrapper from the condom we used. At least it was just the wrapper. Used him later unironically. Made out with her at a softball game in front of her parents. Just what every parent wants to see. Their daughter face F-king a chubby emo kid. I was a cringy 14-year-old. Open bracket. Edit. I mean French kissing. I don't think it's possible for a girl to face FCK a guy. Justin, for your information. Face F-king usually means something else. Unless that is what you meant. In which case I have no words. Me getting mad about her Azul past. I ruined the relationship with the most amazing woman just cause I couldn't handle that she liked people before me. I cringe when I think about it now. Cause now I have had a fair amount of partners and think the complete opposite now. Broke up with her by sending her the lyrics to All I Do Is Win before blocking her on Xit, chat app, ND high-fiving my bros. I was 15. I played Pop Goes the Weasel on the piano over the phone. A 3-page version of it. He broke up with me through a friend a week later. Jealousy. Oh boy, the jealousy and amount of it. Most regrettable and cringy thing I did was after our breakup where we decided to stay friends and even had a laugh at a McDonald's before she went home to her place and I was going to mine. Fast forward 10 minutes and I was taking the bus over to her place. Listening to sad songs on the way and thinking I'd win her heart back by confronting her outside her house. She still makes me cringe. Used to F-king meow at him to get his attention. Why did people let me go outside? Let alone date? You see kids, you can't do cringy things in a relationship if you've never been in one. I was 17/18 at the time and that prefect mix of insecure and jealous. I used to freak out if I ever thought he was looking at PRN other girls. The worst was when I found a panty shot in one of his mangas. My ridiculous tantrum was so bad he threw out his entire manga collection, which was large and something he really loved. I still feel bad about it to this day. Eventually I realized how toxic that kind of behavior is. For a relationship and just in general. I got so mad at my first boyfriend when I saw pictures from a party where he was theater kissing. When you hold your thumb between each other's mouths but it looks like you're really kissing. Another guy as a goofball joke. I knew he wasn't really kissing him but I freaked out anyways because I thought people would think he was gay and think he no longer loved me. I remember calling him and sobbing over it. It was full blown psycho. It's as if you're the bullet and you managed to dodge yourself. I got to use Han Solo's line. I once held out my hand to her. And she said my hands are dirty. And without skipping a beat. I said my hands are dirty too. What are you afraid of? I thought I was cool. I was not. Edit. Hehe. Thanks for the support. Guys. I was mortified as a teenager. Because I was under the impression that cute girls didn't like Star Wars. I was very wrong. I just didn't know it until about a decade later. When my boyfriend and I were getting together. I was very guarded about the whole thing because I wasn't really looking for feelings. Commitment. Etc. One night. He takes my hand and said, "I love you," to which I replied, "I know." Not my first but the girl I'm with now. I asked if I could bite her tits in our first conversation. Well, it must not have been that big of a problem for her. Thought I was in one. I knocked on her door. Gave her a homegrown cucumber from my parents' garden. And left. We're actually getting married in a year. Standing outside the movie theater after seeing something, laughing and joking around. I was much taller than her and she jokingly made like she was going to spit up at me. So I jokingly made like I was going to spit down at her. Only it didn't turn out to be a joke. I launched a huge gob right down between her eyes. We dated for 5 years after that. This was during my first year of high school. So my first real high school girlfriend. I was at her house and we were cuddling. Which was all we had done at this point. And I tell her to say truck. She does. I proceed to grab her boobs and say honk honk while I squeeze. I sung "I Can Be Your Hero Baby" by Enrique Iglesias over the phone before I asked her out. The kicker to it all was I had never met her in person yet. It was my best friend's GF friend. It worked out okay. She said yes and we dated for a month or so, but I wish I could go back and punch former me in the face. We wouldn't go out on dates often, but when we would I'd give him these little origami hearts with little notes inside. One for each day we didn't see each other. Looking back I'm cringing off about it, hahaha. It's really cute though. I think this is really sweet. This one's a two-parter. Dated a co-worker at a certain department store for like a month. She never seemed to be available. Always busy since we had conflicting schedules. So one day I got fed up and kissed her by surprise in the stockroom. Mistake number 1. She was flattered at first, but then realization set in. I kissed her at our workplace and she mentioned the stockroom cameras. And she scooted away for the rest of the day. Later that day. We text. I tell her I just need to see her more often. I keep asking what days, times, but get nowhere. And then I asked her for her work login. WTF. So I could just check her schedule and tell her when we should meet. No response. The next day I find out she got moved to women's clothing because they needed the help. A couple days later I get her text saying she needs space and time alone and all that. And it all made sense suddenly just how naive I had been. While driving my daughter's first boyfriend home after school one day. He looks at the clock and says, "Haha, 4:20. I gave him a weird look. The car was silent for 5 minutes. Then I looked at the clock and said, "Haha, 4:25 and shot him another weird look. Dumbus. I'm on desktop and read it till here, cause the sentence ends here, and was like WTF. Also, I'm high. While driving my daughter's first boyfriend home after school one day. He looks at the clock and says, "Haha, 4:20. I gave him a weird look. The car was silent for 5 minutes. Then I looked at the clock and said, haha 4. Wrote her 100 things that I loved about her. I was 14 now, also a copyright airing. How the hell do you think of 100 things? No offense to my boyfriend. Sorry. We didn't see each other very often because we were long distance. So we role-played through text. So many hugs. Lied about liking things I didn't like at all to impress the guy by being the cool girl. I once pretended to not eat pork. He was a conservative Jew. Work out daily with pre-workout. And not eat junk food. He dated for 2 years and it was exhausting. I just wanted to be seen as the cool athletic healthy chick. But that all came to a head when he borrowed my car and found my leftover Baconator wrappers. Now ex-girlfriend and I had sex for the first time. She turned to me and said, I think I'm in love with you. I was caught off guard, so I joked and said, you're not supposed to say that after sex. Laughed and tried to have sex again with her. Assume that I knew the rules of relationship. And if my partner failed to follow these rules, they were wrong. I read her children's stories with all the voice acting and everything. We were 18. I'd swoon over a guy who would do that to me, and I am 24. We used to give little and very random sentimental gifts to each other. For example, Squirtle was an inside joke thing between us. So over time he would give me Squirtle related things, the Pokemon card, a little Squirtle toy, etc. I remember filling up a little mason jar with many tiny origami stars, each with a reason why I loved him. He read all of them. But because our relationship was very low-key and hidden from our families, middle school days, he couldn't bring it home and hide it from his nosy family. So after unraveling each star, he put the papers back into the jar and gave it back to me to take home. Waste of time and very cringe looking back. Edit 1. These comments are really sweet. But I said it was a waste of time because he is an ass now. Waste of time. No way that this stuff is a waste of time. Thought he was the one and we often discussed marriage. Lol. What the FCK did we know? Work. Tell me about it. And my first boyfriend and I broke up. I was 16. My mom told me I'd likely have my heart broken several more times before I finally found the one. And I remember being like, what do you mean I have to go through this again? I thought for sure that if he wasn't the one, the next one certainly had to be. Hahaha yeah. No. She was right. Keeping track of the months and having a small anniversary of sorts every month. Holy crap, did I realize it was cringe-worthy after a while. Pretty sure most teenagers do that. Had a teenage drama meltdown, which involved hysterical crying or threatening to harm myself and getting people to take sides, when he broke up with me and kinda hooked up with his best friend as revenge. I am cringing as I type this, and if you are reading this, either of you, I'm really sorry. I was an immature kid who acted like a massive bitch. I regret what I did and what I put you through. We are all adults now, but I'm still ashamed of that chapter in my life. I love you reply. Let's give it a try. Can't be more cringy than that. PS, that's how the relationship started. Long distance relationship. I sent him a braided lock of my hair. Still together after 4-5 years, but looking back we were cringy in high school. We acted almost like a married couple and were together 24/7. Scheduling all our classes together. We went to a small school and managed to isolate ourselves from everyone. Sure, we had our buddies and whatnot, but at the end of the day it was always just me and her. By the time we got to college we realized we both have no idea how to really interact with groups of people our age. We still spend 90% of our time together, but we've been making a real effort to have real friends outside of each other. Looking back, I feel like most people saw us as trying to be more serious than we needed to be. I let a girl tie a rope around my neck at our high school cause I thought it would be funny and show I didn't give her FCK. Looking back, I just look like a F king desperate PSSY. Yikes.